Hey folks, Randy Newberg here with another episode of Leupold's Hunt Talk Radio. Hope summer's going as well for you as it is for me. Today finds me in Sioux Falls, South Dakota at the headquarters of Silencer Central. This summer, I ended up doing a lot of communicating back and forth with Silencer Central, with their lobbyists, because the big beautiful bill, as you want to call it that passed this summer had incorporated some things trying to get the Hearing Protection Act, a lot of you call it HPA, incorporated in it. And there's a whole lot of reasons why it ended up where it was, and Silencer Central is one of the groups putting a lot of effort into that, trying to get it passed. We got the $200 stamp fee removed, but we got more work to do because we got to simplify and move some of these restrictions on the ownership of suppressors. And while I was doing all this, Brandon Maddox, the founder of Silencer Central, and I swapped some emails and had the chance to visit on some of this stuff. And he's got some really interesting ideas about how we move forward, why maybe it was predictable that maybe Congress wouldn't, or the parliamentarian of the Senate wouldn't allow a full HPA at this point. But we're all committed to getting that changed. And then I also got a whole list of questions for Brandon now that I got to get a tour of their facility here in Sioux Falls. It is impressive, super, super impressive. The customer service staff they have that helps people with their paperwork and make sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted just blew me away. It's unbelievable. But I know a lot of you, since I started shooting suppressors a few years ago, probably think I'm overboard on my advocacy for the cause of suppressors. I don't care what suppressor you buy. It doesn't matter to me. I know there's a lot of young people out there who still have their hearing, and I have hearing in my right ear, but my left ear is pretty much shot just because of shooting, full on gunshots, rifles, shotguns. And I'm right-handed, so my left ear faces the muzzle. And I know people are like, oh, I'll wear the little foamies, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. And yeah, that works at times, but there's a lot of times where it just ends up not happening. And so I don't want you to be like me. So Brandon and I'm sure I'll get into some of that also. But I got a whole list of questions for him here. The other thing to me, I walked into their conference room here, and I don't know if I can pry it out of him, but the amount of money and product they donate to conservation is mind-blowing. And they have plaques here on the wall from every group that we support. All of us are supporters, volunteers, members, donors of some sort to so many of these conservation groups. And I would bet if it's one that you support, there's a plaque here of recognition from that group, recognizing all of the revenue and all the money raised through the product donations that Silencer Central does. So anyhow, appreciate y'all being here. You're probably realizing that we are cranking out podcasts like crazy right now. We're trying to do one a week, getting them out, because we know what happens when I get out on the road, right? We get real busy, and sometimes, there's a gap. So hopefully you're enjoying the rapid pace of them all now, and we'll try to keep them coming. Thanks for being here. Brandon, thanks so much for having me here to the Silencer Central headquarters in Sioux Falls.
Appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
Excited to have you.
Yeah, well, you gave me the tour this morning.
Yes, sir.
As impressive as everything looks on the outside, when you come in, it's almost mind-blowing
Good.
how impressive it is.
No, that's good feedback.
And
We hear that a lot. That's why we try to get people here.
yeah.
It's hard to get people to come to Sioux Falls because there's not many direct flights.
Well, I happened to be up at our family's cabin in northern Minnesota, so I just had to grab a plane from Minneapolis to here. So it was worth the flight.
There we go. Perfect.
Just to see how many people you have here, your customer service department, you had a whole floor of people solving problems, helping customers through the process.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Big investment. Yeah.
Yeah, and then to go out on the floor where all the inventory and all the shipping, and you got everything sorted by state
Yeah.
for each
It's impressive,
approved
isn't it?
item.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know there was that much interest in suppressors and silencers. But
Oh yeah. 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 Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I think we'll do, I don't know, 150, 200,000 this year. That's a lot through there shipping.
wow,
Yeah.
so I'm just doing the quick math on that, per day. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot of shipping.
No wonder there's a UPS and FedEx truck parked out here.
Yeah, totally. There. All the time. Yeah.
Well, you were on the podcast this winter, and we talked about a lot of things about how you got into this by being a pharmacist, and
Yeah.
now this is your life. But so much has happened in the last 7 or 8 months since then.
Yeah.
You and I have both been back in DC and meeting with elected officials and trying to get some changes in place.
Yes.
And I just want people to know we talked about, before we get into that, we just touched briefly on Silencer Central and its commitment to the things that me and my audience hold dear, and that's conservation. And you guys never talk about it.
Yeah.
But back behind me here, and I might film this before I leave,
Oh, sure.
is this big wall of all this recognition from all the conservation groups. And you have any idea how many units or how many dollars you ended up giving to giving, right?
Yeah.
They sell it, they get the
100% of
proceeds,
it, yeah.
100% of the proceeds.
Yeah.
You got any idea how much or do you even
I
keep
think-
track of it?
I think it's on track this year for just this year, 10 million.
$10 million ends up in the cash registers of conservation groups.
Yeah, because we give them a free silencer and they get to keep 100% of whatever it auctions at their local events.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% gift. Yeah.
And as someone who's run a committee for a conservation group, fundraiser, banquet committee, if we can get 50% margin, we're like, whew, yeah.
Totally.
So when we get 100%
Yeah,
on
totally.
something, even
Yeah.
better. And so that's just always something I want our audience to understand is the partners we have and the companies in this industry, whether it's the shooting sports or it's hunting or whatever, are so generous and so committed, but none of you ever talk about it.
No, I would agree. We need to be better about talking about it.
Yeah. And I get it, because
Yeah.
if you talk about it, someone will say, oh, you just do it for the marketing purpose.
Yeah, totally.
So my job is to make sure we talk about it.
Okay.
So
we'll let you do that.
yeah, so I'm glad we touched on it in our last discussion, but I just wanted people to get an idea of the magnitude of what that is.
Yeah.
That goes to conservation, it goes to all the things that these groups do
Yeah,
to put more habitat and more wildlife on the landscape.
totally. Yeah. And a lot of those organizations, we are either their top or number 2 largest donor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, because some of them are over $1 million just individually.
Silently, Silencer Central
Yeah,
is
totally.
supporting conservation.
Totally. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You don't need to put a silencer on your support for conservation.
I agree. We should talk about it more. I agree.
But going into the next thing, a lot happened this summer with the big, beautiful bill and a lot of legislation in Congress that you guys were, even before this year, in previous Congresses, you guys were trying to do things to modernize, would that be the right word? Reform, whatever.
Yeah.
The NFA, the National Firearms Act.
Right.
And I know there was a couple of years ago, or last year it was, you guys were trying to get the $200 tax stamp
Yeah.
allocated to Pittman Robertson.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, I always say the struggle is there's a lot of people that hunt out there that either don't realize silencers are legal or they don't realize you can hunt with them. So if you can find ways to, you know, blend the two together, it's helpful. But, you know, our lobbyist works in the conservation groups. And, you know, he kind of came to us and said, hey, it's going to be impossible to get a Hearing Protection Act to go through and get silencers deregulated with a Democrat Biden in office. It's just, he's not going to sign it.
Right.
So are there other alternatives or things that we could do that would benefit, you know, the customer and also conservation?
Yeah.
And his recommendation was, hey, let's, because the $200 tax stamp is going to be eliminated, but since 1934, it's gone directly to the U.S. Treasury.
Right.
So it's not earmarked for anything.
Yep.
So the thought was if we could take that $200 tax stamp that our customers are paying and direct it towards Pittman Robertson, which goes to conservation, that would be great.
Right.
And you know, so there were a lot of things. One was build more awareness that, you know, suppressors are lawful. You can hunt with them.
Yeah.
Also, my concern was there's several states that have talked about making silencers illegal at a state level.
Right.
So if they start getting conservation money in Washington and Oregon and some of these states that you feel like could potentially make silencers illegal at some point at a state level, then hopefully if they're getting those dollars in, they would say, hey, maybe we should make these illegal because it's funding our game, fish, and parks for our state.
Right.
So there was a lot of, you know, thought that it would, customer wouldn't feel like they were just giving $200 to the government. Who knows where it went? It was going to conservation.
Yeah.
It would have been the largest sort of injection of capital into Pittman Robertson at one time. So, I mean, last year there was 1 million transfers of silencers, so $200 million would have been a big.
That's a big chunk of money.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, I think people were, you know, later down the path, they heard that and they thought, oh, you guys weren't supporting deregulation. Well, this was during the Biden administration when he was not going to sign anything anyway. We were just looking for something. And I mean, you know, it's interesting because we have, you know, 2 lobbyists that are part-time. I mean, you know, we're 1/100th of their total revenue. So we don't have a huge impact in DC, but they've helped us with compliance things as well. They've done things that helped us make our process easier. So again, the thought was we can't really impact the market when you have a Democrat in the presidency at the time. So and that's the only time we've really had a lobbyist was during Biden's administration and then now this year.
Yeah, it's interesting for people who, I get the notion where you say, I don't do politics. Right? I wish I didn't have to do politics also. Don't we all?
Oh, for sure.
But when you realize politics is a reality of conservation, of funding, of access, of regulation, of all compliance, you have to play the game, if you want to call it that, or you got to be present. And when you are there, you have to understand the sideboards and the realities of what's possible.
Totally, yeah.
Right? Policy is the accomplishment of the possible, you're not going to accomplish the impossible.
Right.
So if anyone thinks that with the Biden administration you're going to get a full-on change of, you know, ATF and the NFA and the Hearing Protection Act, good luck with that.
Yeah.
So you have to look at what's possible. What are the points of progress that we can make?
Yeah, totally.
And so, you know, I've read and heard so many of the things out there about, the Silencer Central is against this and is against, they're behind the scenes, they're this. And I know your lobbyists in DC and we had the benefit of some discussions on this and they were laying out to me, here's what's really possible. First of all, you need 60 votes in the Senate to kill to stop debate, the filibuster, and actually come to a vote. Well, in most instances, 60 in today's world of just partisanship.
It's a high bar.
Yeah. So you got to work with where you can make progress and what you can do.
Yeah.
And then you guys had some thoughts and ideas of how to effectuate some change under the current administration. Yeah. And we got some of it. We got the $200 stamp is going away.
And I mean, I think the other thing is people don't realize that Silencer Central also owns Banished suppressors.
Right.
And so, I publicly said, we did well over $100 million in sales there last year.
Yeah.
So if the market was completely deregulated where dealers could sell them like a regular firearm, we would obviously benefit significantly.
Yeah.
So there would be no reason. I mean, people read Silencer Central makes the process simple, yes,
Yeah.
but we also own another brand that we would have benefited greatly from.
Yeah.
So, I think that, people were making, comments online that someone's working behind the scenes. So then they're trying to look for somebody. And, we were probably an easy target because we'd worked on conservation stuff before. But you're right. I mean, I stopped reading the things online. But when I would read online that we were trying to conserve the tax stamp because we were supporting conservation, I was like, they need a thicker dictionary to figure out what conservation means. And, it's unfortunate. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. But knowing what was going on back there, because I was back there last year, I've been back there twice this year, and being involved with a lot of the industry people, NSSF and congressional sportsmen, I can pick up the phone and have a conversation to find out what's really going on.
Yeah.
And so when people with these small YouTube channels and these blogs and stuff, you're like, have you been back there? Well, I heard. You feel like you're down at the bar or something. And it's unfortunate that in the shooting space, so many people want to eat their own.
No, I hear that a lot. No, you're right.
It's so unfortunate because we have so much progress that could be made.
Totally.
Both shooting, hunting, conservation. And when we end up in this, well, we need to have a boogeyman. Someone's got to be our enemy today.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Yeah.
This is progress? No.
Oh.
So, as someone who can get to the source of what the facts are, I challenge every one of those people. When they show up on my platforms and start talking that stuff, I'm like, really? Show me where.
Yeah.
Because when I was back in D.C., I talked to their lobbyists. I talked to some people went to a baseball game with some people who are working on this.
Right.
And I know who's on the right side.
Yeah.
And you guys were on the right side of all this stuff. So.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, but it bothers me from the bigger picture of, I view that every time, no matter what administration, there's some progress to be made. And sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. Sometimes the progress is just not getting pushed backwards. And when we waste this energy bickering and picking on somebody who's out there actually doing things that are to our best interest, I'm not that good at biting my tongue anymore.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's interesting. I don't think we had anticipated that, there would be this big of a, debate about the situation. And I mean, we sort of took the position that we're flexible, we're willing to negotiate. And the reason why is, you probably know I'm on the Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation board, and then I'm on the NSSF board.
Yep.
And then also we have really good, because we're a smaller state, I have good, relationships with our elected officials. We have, Senator John Thune's the majority leader. We have Rounds, Dusty. I mean, I have cell phones for all these guys. So I kind of have a pulse of, we were told before the session started that 4 U.S. senators went to the parliamentarian and said, could Hearing Protection Act ever get through? And she basically said no.
Right.
So the feedback for me was, we better have a backup plan.
Yeah.
So, we had the idea of, hey, let's get rid of the tax stamp as a backup if this can't go through.
Right.
And then they thought we were pushing that, and then it created, sort of blew up. But, like I said, it is what it is. I mean, I think that obviously there's more work to be done. We would love to deregulate them. We would definitely benefit from that. And I'm hopeful eventually it will, maybe eventually through legislation or even through litigation. So. I think we're getting closer every day. More people that you have own suppressors, there are more people to then educate their elected officials who then go vote. So,
yeah, because your business, all of us would benefit from a deregulation of suppressors. And it's just so ironic that when you think about firearms in Europe, they're so highly regulated.
Yeah.
But suppressors, if you don't have one on your firearm, they look at you like, what are you doing without having a suppressor on that thing?
Yeah, totally.
It's like going and buying green bananas or something.
Yeah, totally.
And over here, you got to go through the full background check, get the tax stamp.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we can get to that point.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting too because most people don't realize from a conservation perspective. So now that the silencers come January will be deregulated, there'll be no tax on them.
Right.
So that's unlike every other firearm where they either pay 10 or 11% that goes to Pittman Robertson.
Right.
So if silencers were deregulated and treated like a regular firearm, you'd just see an 11% tax put on them, and then that would benefit conservation.
Right.
So there is a benefit for the conservation groups to get behind the deregulation of suppressors. So there's a nice, you know, sort of synergy effect there. So there's ways to get it done.
Yeah. And I wonder if people realize that one of the things that was floated out there as a possible concern if we do get federal deregulation is you can look at some states like Washington, Oregon, Colorado maybe.
Yeah, Maryland.
Yeah. At the state level.
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. They could regulate them.
Yeah.
And maybe regulate them far tighter than what's currently regulated.
Right.
So hopefully we can get those in people's hands and get their elected officials to understand that this isn't what you think it is.
Yeah,
it's an education process.
Yeah, because it's not a public safety issue. Almost 100% of the time, if you see any kind of public safety issue with suppressor, they didn't go through the process.
Yeah.
They made their own, they stole it, you know.
Yeah. Well, you guys just helped me set up a trust for my most recent suppressor.
Perfect.
So I'm a CPA. I'm the trustee of quite a few trusts. And I'm thinking, boy, I know what it takes to set up a trust. This seems really complicated. Why would I do that just for a suppressor? I had no idea you guys made it that simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys had the form. I went online, ran one of your people to help me.
Yeah.
And done.
Yeah, totally.
And then when I went through and got the stamp, I think it turned around in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And problem solved.
No, true.
So
you know, interestingly enough, last week we had a meeting with Doge from the government, and we were referred to them by the ATF because we're the biggest user of the ATF e-forms.
Yeah.
And they're expecting the e-form usage to be astronomical come January. So they were asking us for feedback on how they can improve it and prepare for it. But one thing they were talking about is people over the years that have bought as an individual are going to want to now go to a trust because there's no tax stamp.
Yeah.
So I thought it was insightful they were thinking that far ahead, but I do think that people will be calling us saying, hey, you know, you guys do a free trust. Can you help me get all the ones I bought over the years as an individual into a trust so then I can share them, pick who gets them when I pass away, all that stuff. So I think that could be a big market too come January.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Agreed.
On my website, I have a big forum called Hunt Talk, and all this discussion's happening out there, and a lot of guys have said, I'm waiting until January. And I tell them, I'm like, well, right now, Silencer Central will pay your stamp.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you guys going to do that through the end of the year?
That's the goal.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you know, people sort of like, well, how do you afford to do that? Well, we can't really, but it's better than having no sales.
Yeah. Yeah, if everyone's going to just kind of sit there and wait until January 1st.
Because I have almost 200 people in this building, and then not to mention all of our 42 locations, so you can't go 5 or 6 months with no sales.
Right.
If everybody sat on the sidelines. So we're trying to do what we can because we do feel like that a lot of people will go January 1st. And people will be like us. They may not have as much revenue coming in, so then they're not able to make as many for a supply.
Right.
So then you come January, if you don't have a whole lot of supply, it's going to burn down really quick, and you're going to have trouble getting one.
Right. Yeah.
So now it's going to be the same price because we'll pay the tax stamp, but then also it'll be quicker because there won't be as many people
in the system trying to
buy at the same time.
Yeah, it kind of like going to be rush hour traffic on
100%.
January 1st.
Yes, totally, 100%.
What normally should take a 10-minute drive is going to take you 2 hours.
Yeah, totally.
But even worse, as someone who has an FFL going on, they have made a lot of progress in how it's done electronically.
Yeah, it's impressive.
I'll give them credit there. And it will be interesting, though, to see what happens.
I know, because, of course, I think the Republicans typically want to cut back on ATF spending, but, of course, this is an area we hope they don't cut back on spending, because you hate to change the law to make it, you know, easier to buy them by getting rid of the tax stamp, and then you don't put enough resources behind the actual processing of the forms, then you get the kind of the same problem.
Yeah.
Because we've always felt like, you know, if you pay the tax stamp or you could get a quicker return, people are more apt to buy with a quicker return. It's just, they didn't mind paying extra if they could get it quicker. So we saw a bigger impact on demand when the turnaround times became more instant, if you will.
Yeah.
So that had the biggest driver on it. We just hope it stays that way.
Yeah.
That, moving forward, we have quick turnarounds, and of course now the tax stamp's going away, which I would have never thought would happen. I'm still in shock. I'm like, wow. Government gives up money? No, like you ask people at gun shows, they're like, oh, they're going to deregulate these one day. I'm like, government give up money? Maybe. I don't know. Most people are like, yeah, you're right. They'll never give up that.
Well, as a CPA who's been back to DC lobbying on tax legislation before, yeah, you're right. Nobody wants to give up revenue because
got to find it somewhere else.
Yeah,
totally.
And so when this got floated that the $200 fee was going to go away as part of this bill, I'm like, good luck with that.
Yeah,
and
totally.
You guys pulled it off.
Yeah, totally.
So,
totally.
Well, that's good. I'm always trying to look forward, like what's just over the horizon or the next horizon. You got any thoughts or ideas of where things are going?
The market itself?
The market, but the regulation.
Regulations.
Because a lot of people are like, well, we just need to fire the parliamentarian because they didn't allow a policy change in a budget bill. Well, their job is to make sure there's a distinction between budget, which the $200 stamp is, it affects the budget, versus policy, which there's a full-on change of some government regulation.
Right.
And so it's always harder to change regulation.
Yeah.
Because
totally. And of course, Thune came out before this started saying we're not going to fire the parliamentarian. Because if you think ahead, what you don't want is the Democrats to be in power.
And then they do this.
100%.
Right.
So if you set the precedent, it's over. And then anything's fair game because it doesn't have to be regulatory. Yeah, then they could say the tax stamp is $5,000 and we're not going to put any agents in there to process them, so you're not going to sell anything. You're not going to have access to anything.
Right.
From a regulatory standpoint, typically when we run a sale where we take the tax stamp away during a regular season, we see like maybe a 3x increase.
Okay.
So for like projections, we're thinking, maybe 2.5, 3x as far as what we've done in the past. I think you'll probably see more people enter the market, manufacturers, maybe. I think you'll see the manufacturers currently out there are typically smaller. I don't know if they're going to be able to handle the demand, so they're going to be out of stuff quickly. I think that you may see less innovation because everyone's focused on just making what they already have.
Right.
But I could see that maybe more integrally suppressed barrels. So maybe firearms manufacturers that are making rifles will, basically cut the barrel down, put a suppressor on it, use some of the new ammo out there. It's a little bit hotter, and you don't have to worry about shorter barrels, and you can see more of that.
Yeah.
Integrally suppressed barrels, really common for like rimfire, but I could see you getting that maybe in bigger, larger barrels, higher calibers. Because I've seen the market evolve where now they're shortening the barrels to accommodate suppressors, so it would make sense that, hey, why don't we come out with integrally suppressed? But there could be, and even in the AR platforms, that could come out with that. Integrally suppressed stuff will become more popular. So I think at the end of the day, more people are going to buy them. Because I always say, I don't know that I've ever met anyone that hunted with a suppressor that didn't say, I'll never hunt again without one. Because think about it in life. Like I always, because my wife, of course, she's like, okay, walk me through why, as a pharmacist, you want to go sell silencers at gun shows on the weekend. Like, why is this a hobby for you? And I'm like, how many things in life have you ever done where someone buys one and they come back to you and they're like, I will never shoot or hunt again without one.
Yeah.
That's so rare in life. Because my dad's a pharmacist, so he's looking at me like, okay, I paid for you to go to college for 6 years. And then you went and got your MBA, so you went to college for 8 years, you were doing what? But I told him, I'm like, Dad, like people would come into the pharmacy and they would have a $5 copay on a medication that would save their life and they would complain.
Right.
But if they want a suppressor, they find a way to get it. It's just amazing. If they want a $1,000 toy, they find a way to get the money and they don't mind waiting. I'm telling you, people would complain more about a $5 medication that would save their life. And so I told my dad, I'm like, I love it. It's perfect. How many things can you do in life when someone goes, I'll never, I'm just thinking like, did this happen back in like horse and buggy? Like when you got to ride in a car, you're like, you know what? I'm getting rid of the horse.
Yeah.
This buggy thing is the way to go. Like how many people think about that with a silencer? I think it's a big deal.
That's a great way to look at it.
It's
I
only
am one of those people.
Yeah, it's only going to catch on because, like I said, everybody wants to use it. They want it. So the obstacle has always been, you know, time, money, price, headaches, stuff like that. And each
Right.
year, I feel like we're getting better. I mentioned some of our lobbying efforts. I mean, we haven't talked about it publicly, but we had done some things that made the process easier for the consumer on our end.
Yeah.
So there's little things every year that we're able to get done for the industry that continue to make it a little bit easier, more digitized. Things are quicker, more instantaneous. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the headaches are going away. $200 going away. You know, people. I hear some people worried about price going up because the person's used to paying the 200. You know, I don't think so. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some companies that will sell at like minimum advertised price because they're making money on their software, but they may go up to full MSRP, and that might stay for a while, but eventually it'll probably level back out.
Yeah.
It'll bring more people into the market for lower priced silencers. I think people want, like, you know, even cheaper suppressors, but the hard part, I always tell my team, is that, you know, there's a software company out there now, and I saw at a recent convention, and they said, hey, we've got the paperwork for the dealer down to an hour. So the dealer is typically spending at least an hour to get all the paperwork, you know, the fingerprints, the photo, get all the paperwork for the consumer into the system and submit it to the ATF. They've got almost an hour just in that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include the end part of giving it to the consumer when they come to pick it up. So it's going to be hard for a company to come out with a $100 silencer and be able to make it work, because you got to have some money in it for the dealer for all that time they're investing, and then the manufacturer to make it. But I do think you'll see more people that were before maybe it was out of their reach price point wise will now buy them. It's just they have to see it as a lifetime purchase instead of, like you're saying, overseas. Like I've seen them in Africa, they're typically aluminum. They're seen as, you know, you just throw it away and you buy another one. It's reusable. Whereas here it's like a lifetime purchase. That's why people are using a trust, because they want to be able to hand it down to someone else. So. Yeah, it's just different.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about some of those things. And for me, I raised my hand as one of those guys who I just never really thought about it. I thought, well, I'll just be deaf by the time I'm age 65. I accept that reality. And then when Nosler sent me one, which you guys carry Nosler suppressors also.
Yeah, it's one of our best sellers.
And I'm like, whoa, why? Where has this been all my life?
Yeah, totally.
So that was 3 years ago. Now I have another one that they sent me that you guys set up the trust for.
Perfect.
And I am that guy, and I know people think that I do this because I have a partnership with you and a partnership with Nosler. But I do it because the frustration in my life, my wife would tell you, my greatest frustration is what? And if there's road noise in a vehicle, my left ear, if I'm in the passenger seat, I'm not hearing anything because my left ear is to the conversation, because I'm right-handed and I shot too many times without hearing protection or a suppressor. And so I just don't want other people to be my age and have this problem. It's preventable now.
Yeah. No.
And so.
Yeah, but no, even talking about partnering with us, I mean, I was working on you for years. You vetted us pretty hard. I mean, I can tell you don't just work with anybody. I said you work with who you want to work with, not because of, which I like. I appreciate that, right?
You know, that's so funny that you say that.
That was my experience. Every time I'd run into you, I'm like, Randy, if you reconsider, we'd love to work with you. You're like, I'll think about it. You're nice.
I know. I'm probably blushing right now because I'm like, I'm not sure about that. What's their story? And so after about the fourth or fifth time, you reached out and Logan reached out, and by then I'd went through the whole paperwork process myself for my first suppressor from Nosler.
Right.
I'm like, there has got to be a better way.
Yeah.
And all my friends are like, well, why didn't you just go down? There's a kiosk from Silencer Central. Why didn't you just do that? I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so then when my son got his suppressor, he used you guys in the finger. He's like, oh, yeah, I had it in a week. I'm
Yeah,
like,
perfect.
What?
Yeah.
And so the next time you approach me, I'm like, hey, these guys are legit.
Good. That's perfect. That's good. That's good.
I didn't really want to tell the audience how stupid it was, but I guess the cat's out of the bag there. But I appreciate your persistence.
No, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. at this point in my life, I wish I would have listened to people who were my age back when I was 30, because they had some advice that I thought, just old man talk.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you folks, you don't want the frustration that comes with losing the hearing in whatever ear is there to the barrel.
Right.
Which gets me to the email I got the other day that you guys have a shotgun suppressor coming out.
Yes, sir. Yes. It's
because waterfowl hunters, dove hunters, it's a big deal.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Boy, it's super light. I'm trying to think if I've got one later.
They showed it to me.
Yeah. It's 100%. It's all titanium. It's 3D printed. It's super light.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive. Yeah. And it's quiet, it's hearing safe, which is nice. Doesn't block your line of sight. Easy to swing. It checks all the boxes. It's impressive.
They handed me one when I walked in here. They're like, shoulder that. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if it works like my rifle suppressor, how am I going to have a high enough elevated rib to sight down without the suppressor blocking my view? Well, you guys solved that problem.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Plus, it's super light. It's quiet. It's nice. And you can use the, you don't have to get anything threaded. Just threads right into your choke threads. And it comes with 3 chokes, comes with the adapter. So it's pretty much when you get it, the box has got everything you need to make it happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So probably the biggest complication that I encountered struggling through by myself and working with a local person to do this was the fingerprinting.
Yeah.
Now you got, the last one I went to, there was a trade show going on in Portland.
Yeah.
And you guys had a booth there.
Yeah, we just do your prints there,
Yeah. I walked over there, I handed them, I set up an account online, I uploaded my driver's license. They're like, what's your account? Oh yeah, it says next step you need fingerprints. I'm like, that's what I'm here for.
Perfect. Yeah.
And problem solved. But is that something you guys are doing?
Yeah, so we worked like 200 shows a year.
200.
And then also, like if someone bought online, we just mail you the fingerprint cards. We give you ink, you just do your own. You know, kind of the secret is that 1934 they required fingerprints, but they don't normally look at them because they just do a regular background check. So obviously, when you buy a firearm at a local, gun store, you don't have to have fingerprints to get a background check. So fingerprints don't have to be perfect, but we walk you through how to do your own.
Right.
You mail them to us, we digitize them, we upload them to the ATF, and then we keep them on file. So if you get something later, we've got them on file.
Gotcha. Okay. I wondered how that worked. Because going and having a kiosk at a trade show was really easy.
Yeah, totally.
Is that something, are you guys going to have more of these at like stores and other places?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we're working with some big retailers now to implement the same software that we use at events for them to use locally at their retail settings as well. Yeah.
Well, a lot of, walking through all this, and I'm sure the audience is like, well, it sounds to me like their gig is to just make this process easier, and that's what their business model is. They didn't get the tour I got that shows all these suppressors you guys are selling.
Oh yeah,
that's where money gets made.
Yeah,
that's what keeps the doors open.
Totally, yeah.
And so the notion that somehow you've got this evil motive to keep it complicated because you're getting rich by having it a complicated process. If anything, you guys are the industry leader of how to make it easier, make it easier, make it easier.
100%, yeah. And if they were deregulated because we're a manufacturer, we would just sell more to dealers. So then we wouldn't have to deal with all this paperwork. I mean, you hate to say it, but all the people you saw with customer service up there, we wouldn't need them anymore. That would be, our overhead would be gone, and then we would focus solely on the manufacturing side.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, how do we supply every dealer in the country?
Yeah.
The other thing people don't realize is, there's about 80,000 FFL dealers in the United States.
Yeah.
There's about 20,000 of them that have the license to sell silencers.
Which I don't.
Yeah. So think of 25% of them can sell silencers now. Well, if they became deregulated and they became a regular firearm, then you'd have 100% of those dealers selling them.
Right.
So then we'd be supplying 80,000 instead of 25,000.
Right.
Yeah. So it would be a huge boom for the market if they were deregulated, especially for us.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that happens someday, but I'm trying to be realistic also.
Yeah, I mean, I used to think I would have never thought the tax stamp would go away, and it did. So yeah, I need to be more optimistic. I always say I'm the worst person to ask. I thought Hillary was going to beat Trump the first time. So what do I know, right?
Yeah, I gave up. My crystal ball is pretty foggy when it comes to predicting
Me too.
political races or whatever.
Yeah,
I just
me
like,
too.
it's going to be what it is, and my job is to make sure my interest is represented no matter who's there.
Yeah, totally.
And jumping in and being part of it as much as I got better things to do than to go back to DC.
Yeah, totally.
My wife loves to walleye fish, and so when I was back there in June, I had to cancel a trip walleye fishing at Fort Peck in Montana. And I'm like, honey, there's just this bill. I feel like I gotta be there. And fortunately, she's all in on conservation and public access like I am.
Good.
She's like, yeah, we'll just cancel the fishing trip. And I'm glad I was back there and at a very critical time, but I got better things to do than be back there in June.
Yeah, totally. I get it.
I would way
I get
rather
it.
be there with a rod in my hand doing a shore lunch of walleyes.
Yeah, totally. That's good.
But, well, there's just so many of these things that I have the benefit of, CSF, Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation, Jeff and those guys have asked me to do a lot of things. Sometimes I'll give an address or a presentation, and I have friends at NSSF, and so I have the benefit of getting maybe a little bit more of what's going on, and I always try to feel that I'm a little bit of an interpreter or a news, if you want to call it that, information source for my audience.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you'll put up with my emails and phone calls and your crew here will entertain my what might seem like ignorant questions. They're because I'm wanting to know. I want my audience to not be relying on these, I call them the fringe operators out there who are just interested in clicks and likes and views, and they don't care if there's any truth to anything, or the juicier it is, the better they like it.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of extra work and effort to build those relationships and go to DC or bother people at Congressional Sportsmen or National Shooting Sports Foundations, but it's really important, I think, for our industry to stick to here's facts, here's truth, here's what's realistic.
Yeah.
Because we aren't the majority really anywhere, whether it's in the hunting space, whether it's in the gun ownership space, and then the subcategory of that of people who own suppressors. We need to stick to information. We need to be truthful. We need to have our audiences and our customers know the real facts.
Yeah.
And so I take that pretty seriously as part of having these platforms. And sometimes you get some pretty spicy emails because of that, but
I bet.
that falls under my grandma had a saying. She said, "You've mistaken me for someone who cares about your hurt feelings." And for those people who get upset about being factual,
Right.
it's like, well, you've mistaken me for someone who cares. But, no, I just appreciate companies like you, Brandon. You guys are leading the way in something that is really, really helpful. And I want to see suppressors become mainstream, because that benefits a lot of things. It's going to get more people into shooting.
Yeah.
It's going to get, if you want to follow that to its next step, okay, you get more people into the shooting sports. That's more Pittman Robertson money.
Yeah.
That's more voice for the things we love when it comes to interacting with our elected officials.
Yeah.
And I view silencers as one of those really good tools to help move that process forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I'm the weird duck in all this, but for me, that's, besides the hearing, from a bigger picture of an industry, I just think we need more advocates for our cause out there.
Totally, 100%.
Whether it's shooting, whether it's suppressors, whether it's hunting, whether it's conservation, and that comes with giving people opportunity to go out there and do it in a way that they're comfortable with and that they enjoy.
Yeah.
And I enjoy shooting my rifles suppressed way more. If I go to the bench with my 300 Win Mag, that's a wonderful round. But I don't I don't burn as much ammo practicing with that
Yeah.
as I do with my 7mm 08Y, because if it's not suppressed,
Yeah.
after about the 5th shot, you're like, this is good enough.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
But when it's suppressed, boom, boom. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
there's
fun.
still some recoil, but the concussion isn't there. It's all the things that just make it so much more pleasurable.
Oh, that's fun.
And I know a lot of guys like brakes on their rifles, but when I'm standing underneath the roof at our shooting range, concrete below me, metal above me, and guys with brakes are out there shooting, I feel like I'm getting punched in the face every
100%.
time it goes out.
100%. Totally.
And then I show up there, boom, boom.
Yep.
I don't know. It just for me works really, really well, and I think for everybody else it would be a good idea for people to try it, and as easy as you guys make it. I mean, what is it now for an individual? The turnarounds are a week in some instances.
Yeah.
Even
80% of them are getting approved the same day, so it's quick.
Same day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Huh. And then trusts are
Yeah, typically a little bit longer, maybe
Yeah.
a week.
a week. Okay.
Yeah.
So it took me a couple weeks. They said, oh, it's Newberg. He's a fugitive from justice down in Mexico. He ran away. I did a podcast about spending a night in a Mexican jail. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. So maybe that's why mine took 2 weeks instead of a week. Like, oh, this is the guy who the federales are looking for. But if I would have told you that story beforehand, you might not have wanted to have a relationship.
Now you make me want to go listen to that. Sounds interesting.
Well, the audience has heard it. You know, when we're in college, we probably all, maybe our behavior isn't what it would be when we're 40.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
100%.
I still don't know what we did to get ourselves in that position, but the way we behaved, we probably deserved it anyhow.
Yeah, totally. Totally. 100%.
But then, you go to some of these other countries like Mexico or, some other places, and it always impresses upon me how lucky I am to live in the country I live in,
Yeah, I agree.
where I can own these firearms. And if you come to my office, I have 3 vaults full of them, and I have another vault at home.
Wow.
And there's very few other places where you can enjoy shooting to the degree I do
Yeah.
without being a criminal.
Yeah, true. No, it's true.
And I hope people understand that and realize that. And warts, bumps, and all,
Yeah,
what a country.
I agree. Heck yeah.
And in fact, my wife told me, you better order another safe.
That's good. She's on board with it. That's usually the hard part. Telling the wife I need another safe. No, get rid of some of the ones you got.
Yeah. There's this group we work with in Minnesota, Steelhead Outdoors. They make safes right here in the U.S.
Oh, perfect.
They make them as they fabricate them and they send them to you, not in the mail, but they ship them to you. And they're unbelievable safe. So they're modular. They can be any size, any height, any width,
nice.
any depth. And Corey and those guys, they are just busy as all get out.
Good.
So
That's
it's
kinda cool.
exciting to see a group of young guys start something like that. And I don't know if I'm their best customer, but my goal is to eventually be their best customer.
That's funny.
But if you would have told me that I was gonna end up having this as my adult life and that I'd end up with that many firearms, I'd have been like, really?
Yeah.
But a story, this is a family history. So my great-grandfather came from Finland in 1913 because he didn't want to get conscripted into the Russian army.
Oh, wow.
So at the time they called it the second Russification of Finland. And so he came to the United States. So I'm about 10 or 11 and his oldest daughter was my grandmother. I'm like, Grandma, I'm looking at the photographs and there's always firearms in the background on the wall. What's the deal with all your anniversary pictures, birthday pictures? She's like, well, when my dad got to the United States, he was just surprised that he could buy firearms because he felt part of the reason he had to leave Finland is the citizenry couldn't afford or didn't have access to enough firearms. So when he came to the U.S., he said, I'll never be peaceably disarmed. I'll never be a disarmed man ever again. And so he had firearms all over the wall.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
I like it.
You know, a lot of people think I'm a little bit overboard in my just absolutism of the Second Amendment. I'm not going to be disarmed, and I never will be. Well, and people will think this is some conspiracy theory, but there's only two generations between me and a great-grandfather who had to leave the country he loved because he felt he couldn't defend himself.
Right.
I'm not ever going to be that guy.
Yeah, totally.
And a lot of people think I'm crazy because I don't know, you know, some states might have a law on how many live rounds of ammo you can have.
Right.
Montana doesn't.
That's perfect.
And I don't think Montana ever will, but if they did, I'd probably end up in violation of whatever number they set.
That's funny.
Yeah. But that's why I traveling to other places and realizing just how lucky we are to have all of this, all the things we've talked about, all the conservation, the public lands, the places where we can go and shoot, the places that we can just enjoy. And in spite of, you know, the bumps and warts, we have a lot of freedoms that I'll never take for granted.
Right.
And you talk to people who come, like SHOT Show. That's the fun thing about SHOT Show. You get to talk to a lot of people from other countries.
Totally.
And they are blown away.
Yeah.
That the average U.S. citizen could go down to the sporting goods store outside the Sands Expo in Vegas and walk out the door in a half hour with a firearm.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
how
perfect.
cool is that?
Yeah.
So, but I want to ask you, you volunteer a lot. You're on, I don't know, can you be overboarded or boarded, you know, volunteered in too many places? Because a lot of people think if you sit on the board of Congressional Sportsmen or NSSF, or in my case, when I was on the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation board, they think you get a big check, like you're on the board of directors of IBM or Apple or something.
Yeah, no.
It's volunteer.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In every board I've served on at a national level, all my fellow board members took it really seriously. You don't just show up and say, oh, yeah, sounds great. I mean, there's committee calls, you're on subcommittees, and you show up. It's expected to get business done.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I had one yesterday. Yeah, I had one yesterday with CSF. I'm the treasurer for CSF. So, you know, meeting with the auditors and meeting with our accountant group and then presenting it to the executive committee. And I'm also on the Treasury Committee for NSSF. So yeah, you're right. They don't pay anything. And if we have a meeting, you have to pay your own flight there.
Right.
You pay your own hotel while you're there. Pay your own taxi and flight. I mean, it adds up. Yeah.
Yeah, but you do it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Totally. It's yeah. You do feel like, you know, you were talking about earlier where you can pick up the phone and call people. You do feel like you're better plugged in, and you feel like, you know, I always say, like, I want to make sure that from a compliance standpoint, we're doing things that don't put our customers at risk, our employees or myself. So it just kind of gives me an additional comfort level that, yeah, I'm volunteering it, but I enjoy it because it helps make sure I'm confident in what we're doing, our processes, and that we're not violating anything or doing anything wrong. And also just knowing what's coming and getting a sense, you know, kind of a pulse on what's going on in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been motivating from that perspective for sure.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you doing it because all of our groups do important work, and we see them in D.C. or we see them in state legislatures. Like in my state of Montana, NSSF has a guy, Nephi Cole, who he's excellent. He's great. He's there. He's like, Randy, this bill's coming up. What do you think?
Yeah, totally.
And well, give him my input. He might say, "Oh, that's Newberg again," but no, people don't realize how complicated a lot of this is and what it takes to really make our big picture of hunting and shooting stay where it is, to move it forward and protect it. There's a lot of parts there, and the amount of volunteerism that is keeping that moving
Yeah,
is
it's
impressive.
Yeah. So it keeps it moving forward, though. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I thank you for doing that, and
Oh, for sure.
knowing how busy you are here.
That's
You
good.
probably have other things you could be doing. You got a daughter who, from
Yeah.
what I can tell, is going to be a track star.
Yeah,
or is a track star.
Yeah, she's a good runner. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got family, you got a booming business, you're building a new building,
Yeah.
but you got time to volunteer for 2 big national boards
Yeah, absolutely.
and be the treasurer.
Yeah, no, that's good.
You know what they say? If you want something done, ask
Give
the
it to someone
busiest
busy.
guy
Yeah,
around.
totally, 100%. Yeah. I've heard that a lot growing up. You're right. It's true. You find a way to get it done. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
It was interesting here when you did the tour on the wall upstairs. You had your 3 core values.
Yeah.
I want to expand on those because a lot of our people who listen are really interested in the business side of how do businesses grow? What makes successful businesses?
Yeah. So we use EOS, was Entrepreneurial Operating System, and they sort of force you to come up with core values. Mm-hmm. And I think the good lesson they had for me and our team was it's not where do you aspire to be or where you think you could be or what you want to be. It's what you actually are. Okay. So it has to be kind of an inward looking as to. And our first one was customer focused, and we've always been very focused on the process. And I talked about from the compliance standpoint. And me working gun shows for 20 years face to face with consumers, I think has really helped kind of have a sense for what consumers are looking for. So customer focused. We expect excellence out of everyone. That's just a kind of a unwritten rule.
Yeah.
And then also get things done.
Yeah.
I mean, you've probably met a ton of people that you sit there and listen to them, and you're like, man, they got a lot of great ideas, but then when you ask them how much they actually get done, you find out it's not a whole lot. So, I would say I'm super rigid on that. I mean, obviously a company typically takes on the personality of its owner, especially when the founder and the owner is still here. But I use the analogy with my assistant. I'm like, there's a lot of people that are kind of a hamster in a wheel. They think they're sweating and they're getting stuff done, but they're just spinning in a wheel.
Right.
And you got to be focused on results. And I feel like that we've hired culturally that way. And if someone does come in that doesn't have that trait, they almost weed themselves out, or the team weeds them out because we're so focused on getting results.
Yeah.
Which it also, a lot of us like myself, I came from the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, it was a good training ground for me as a way to get my MBA paid for. But, when we had hundreds of thousands of employees, you didn't feel like you could really get anything done. Yeah. So a lot of people who have come here, that's what attracts them is you can be somewhere where you're actually getting stuff done. Yeah. So you feel more productive. It makes your day feel better.
Oh,
if you're
right.
like, I used to tell people I like to mow because then you can see what you've done. I mean, kind of like that. Just the mindset of being able to make things happen, move things forward. So that attracts people. So that's the goal, is one of the core values. So we keep it simple, 3 core values.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I told you when I looked at those, my crew, if they saw that, they'd be like, Randy, you got 6 written down on your whiteboard. Which 3 are you getting rid of? And probably the one I'd have the hardest time getting rid of is be who you are.
Oh, sure.
For
totally.
me, some people call that authenticity, but for me, I have one currency for my audience, and that's they trust me.
Right.
And if I try to be someone I'm not, people will see through that.
Yeah, totally.
So what you see is what you get. And I think over time, trust has been built. They count on me to be that filter because they don't want to do politics. They don't want to be in, and I get it. They got families and jobs and lives and church and Little League and everything else. I take very seriously the responsibility that they trust that I'm going to tell them the real facts. Yeah. And so one of my core values for us is let's be who we are. The other one is be the best, don't be the biggest.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And I have zero interest in being the biggest whatever.
Yeah.
But whatever little niche I say that's I'm going to work in, I want to be as good at that as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure which other ones they'd make me get rid of, but now that I've seen that, when I get back to Montana, I'm going to probably look at that and say, all right, let's simplify.
Well, I don't think you have to have 3. I think they just, I mean, I think that probably 6 is not too many, but still, the shorter the list, the easier it is to get buy-in
Yeah.
and get everybody on the same page, and then to even create interviewing questions. So you're looking for people with that, and
Yeah.
even assessing people. I mean, saying, hey, can we get the person on track to these 3 values? Because if we can't, then maybe this isn't the best place for them.
Right, yeah. If I had my crew write down what my core values are, they'd say be 15 minutes early. Because I'm one of those people that if we say it's 8 o'clock, I'm going to be there at 7:45.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I'm sure it drives them nuts because we have a meeting or whatever, and I'm sitting in there like, where is everybody? It's a 1:45. I don't know where I got that from, but it's just, I guess, part of to be who you are.
Yeah.
That's
Totally.
just who I am.
That's perfect.
It's amazing to watch your business be what it is, Brandon. I did not know, I told you this earlier, I knew of Dakota
Yeah.
as the company name.
Yeah, Dakota Silencer, yeah.
Yeah. And then Silencer Central shows up. I didn't know you were.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
Silencer Central
Yeah.
was previously Dakota.
Yeah. We couldn't trademark the word Dakota because Dakota Arms owned it. And then also, just as you got bigger, I think as we expanded further, people kind of looked at you like, we spent too much time explaining Dakota and not being able to.
Right.
Yeah. It's funny, years ago I worked a show and a guy came up to me, and this was after we had changed our name, and he's like, Dakota Silencer sees you got their booth here, they're not going to be too happy with you. I said, sir, we just changed our name. He said, they've been coming here for years, they're not going to be too happy with you.
Yeah, I mean, people who didn't catch our first podcast, they don't realize that you used to just go to gun shows every weekend.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's how you started it.
Yeah, totally. Gun shows, yeah, which was fun. It's good to get to know people, and like you said, you had to build trust because I was not from here. I was born in Alabama, so moving to South Dakota and then being a pharmacist, I mean, nothing added up. It's
right,
like,
a pharmacist becoming a silencer.
And he doesn't talk like us, and he wants our money. He wants our money now, and we'll get our silencer in a year. Yeah. They're totally like, yeah. They used to use the term pig in a poke. Yeah. It was tough. I mean, it was hard.
Well, that's the one thing is when we were walking around, I asked you, I said, is there any job here that you haven't done? Because it was just you at one time.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And then you had to hire, you told me, I hired a secretary one time. And then you were still, you've done everything here.
Yeah, the only job I haven't done is run the CNC machine to thread barrels, but everything else I've done. Yeah. Of course, I argued I didn't do much accounting. I would just look at the checking account and say, we got money, let's keep going. That was our accounting department back when I started.
The bank's not calling, we're good.
Boy, I remember every year Rapid City Gun Show was always right before the August 15th deadline. And my CPA would typically call me that weekend, and I would literally just turn beet red because he would say, here's how much you owe in taxes. And I'm like, well, how can I owe that much? I don't even have that much in the bank. He's like, I'm just telling you, this is what you owe. Pay what you can. I'm like, man, every year I would get that call as I was driving out to the show or I was at the show, and I always thought, man, how am I going to make it? I owe more in taxes than I got in my checking account. This can't be. It's got to be a mistake.
Yeah, 100% tax rate.
Yeah, I was like, man, this is horrible.
Oh, that's such a great story. And to me, I think anytime I work with a privately held, if you want to call family, closely held business like this, the stories of the founders and how this came to be, it's always, there's some common traits to it of having a vision, having a belief, not listening to the critics and the naysayers, and just putting your head down and doing it. But every one of them, the story has different versions and different origins, and I'm fascinated by how people build businesses in our industry to make them successful. And there's some common characteristics, though, and it's usually that person. I always say, and this is one of this isn't one of our core values, but it's something I have written on the whiteboard in my office. It says, no plan B. We're here to succeed. We're going to accomplish plan A. We're not going to take the off-ramp.
Yeah, totally.
And pretty much every successful person I ever had in my CPA practice that I was lucky enough to have as a client, people are like, oh, so you just never deviate or you never adapt? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you know where you're going, and if you want to take the off ramps, you're never going to get to what in your mind this vision is.
Yeah.
And some people have that.
Yeah. No, I always tell my banker, we burn the ships. You know, it's like, you arrived, we're here to fight, we're burning the ships, so the team knows there's no way back home.
Yeah.
We got to win. And then once we win, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. No, that burn the ships is such a great analogy. And who was that, Cortez? When he landed in Mexico, he told his crew to burn the ships because we're not leaving.
Nope,
we're here to win.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and that's kind of what my no plan B. My crew definitely understands that this is our goal, this is what our why is, and we're going to accomplish it.
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
And I think that's just one of the traits that people who end up accomplishing what they set out to do, they don't look for the easy off ramp.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
If you're looking for the easy off ramp, you're going to get detoured along the way. You're never going to make it to where you want to be. And so, I'm excited to see what this looks like when you get that new building finished. This is
automates everything. Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah. Is this showroom open to the public? Do you guys get walk-in people?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Not a ton. Most people buy online or over the phone, but it's walk-in. Yeah, it's
Okay.
of course, living here, I hear funny stories where this lady told me, she goes, my husband is a physician, and he never takes time off during the week, but when he got his silencer approved, he figured out how to get the kid and put him in the car seat, which has never happened before. And he took off work, came over here, picked up his silencer. She's like, he would have never left the house before. He would have never taken the kid somewhere. But it's just funny to hear people talk about that silencer got approved. They figured out a way to come here and pick it up.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's so cool. You showed me where Mike was his name, threading the barrels with the CNC machine.
Yeah.
We sent one in this winter, and Marcus, who worked for me, went online. He did a whole video about it. I didn't know you guys did that.
Yeah, we
I
should
felt
advertise
stupid
that better,
that I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, they sent me the box. I'm sending it in. I'm like, really? And I think that was in January or something, and came back exactly what he expected, because a lot of us have rifles, I'd say in the last 3 or 4 years, a lot of threaded barrels.
Yeah.
Prior to that,
Not
you never
so
shot
much.
threaded barrel.
No.
And so a lot of us have a favorite rifle that we'd like to shoot suppressed, but it's not threaded.
Totally.
You got an answer for that also?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So.
I always tell a funny story. I got to meet Bo Jackson. He was here hunting pheasants one year.
Wow.
I told him I would thread his barrels for free. I didn't know the guy had probably as many guns as you. My staff's like, how many did you offer to do for him free? I said, well, because we would send him a rifle case, and one would come, and we'd thread it and send it back, and then another one would come, and it went on for almost a year. I was giving him a hard time. I was like, my team's wanting to know we're going to go bankrupt threading all these barrels.
Well, for younger people who weren't around watching sports in the late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson was the most incredible athlete that ever played baseball and football.
Yeah. And my dad went to Auburn, so when he said he was in town, I was like, oh wow. He lives in Illinois, so typically we have a trust together. We leave the silencers here, and then we mail them to him wherever he's hunting, and then he has to mail them back. So they're stored in South Dakota because he can't have them in Illinois. But yeah, it's kind of cool to, because of course, even at the Auburn games now, I have season tickets. My dad and I'll go to a couple games a year. Half the fans out there are still wearing Bo Jackson jerseys.
I mean, number 34.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. It's crazy.
No, it's amazing what kind of a football career he would have had if he hadn't got injured against.
I know.
When he's playing for the Raiders, he was just the most impossible thing. And if anyone wants to see the most impressive throwout at home plate, he is playing for the Kansas City Royals.
Yes.
It's a clip you can Google on YouTube. I think he was playing left field, someone hit a ball, and he ran and caught it on the bounce barehanded, spun, and threw the guy out at home plate.
It's incredible.
Just like a line drive. And the runner who got tagged out at home plate, he's like, how did I get thrown out? There's no way that guy could have got the ball here. But just the most incredible athlete.
Yeah, it was
and a
amazing.
fanatic hunter.
Yeah, amazing, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty low key about it, but
yeah,
quite a hunter. But well, Brandon, I'm taking a lot of your time today.
No, I appreciate you coming. This has been an honor for us to have you here live.
Well, I really appreciate it, and I just want people to know that between, I don't want to speak out of line, but are you guys doing we'll pay your stamp, the $200 stamp, Silencer Central, we'll pay that until the change of the guard.
In January, yeah.
So don't wait, folks, because if you wait until January,
it's going to be harder. There may not be inventory in, but also it's going to be, the ATF website's probably going to be pretty busy too.
I can't imagine how busy
no,
that's going to be.
I agree.
I wonder, I'm going to tell anyone with my FFL, we're getting any of your FFL stuff processed in December. We're not going to, we're going to let the tube the funnel clear out
Totally.
before we do another one. So anyone listening, if you want a suppressor, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, Silencer Central can make it happen. Mail it right to your front door.
Yeah, and it does. I can vouch. It shows up at your front door.
Yeah.
With the one I just did, the Nosler one, I had tracking all the way when you guys shipped it, and my wife calls me. She's like, "It looks like a silencer just showed up on the steps. I had to sign for this thing." I'm like, "Yeah, didn't I tell you it was coming?" She's like, "Well, what rifle is that going on?" I'm like, "Oh, a bunch of them." That's the other thing. A lot of people think that they're really cartridge or caliber specific.
Right.
Like my 30 ALTI from Nosler, I can use from a 30 caliber down to a 25 caliber.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
it works really well.
Yeah, I just thread it on, thread it off, thread it on, thread it off, whichever rifle I'm using. And so, well, I hope people will take advantage of that you guys are doing that.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to be really interested to see how this shotgun suppressor
Absolutely,
works, because I think waterfowl hunters, especially those snow goose guys, they shoot a lot. And I know a lot of them wear muffs because they are there, but like when I'm pheasant hunting, I don't wear muffs.
Right, yeah, neither.
And probably should have, but I didn't.
Right.
But if it was suppressed, it seems like
Yeah.
that'd be a lot easier on the ear.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or you're in a blind and some guy next to you is
far away.
Yeah. So, well, Brandon, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you,
really
sir.
appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming.
And I hope that I can continue to convince the world, one hunter at a time, to save your hearing and hunt with a suppressor, because you don't have to be like me.
Yeah, we agree.
You hear it. Well, folks, thanks for listening. Appreciate y'all being here. And if you get a chance, go to silencercentral.com.
Yes, sir.
And everything is there. It is as easy as they say it is.
Yeah.
And you will have one on your front porch before you know it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Randy.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.